Now, as much as I love the series Bungo Stray Dogs, and I think Asagiri had done an amazing job with the writing of a lot of his characters, one of the biggest ones has to be the decision he decided to do with Mori Ougai. So as someone who has studied Asagiri's work extensively, one thing I've noticed a lot with Bungo Stray Dogs has to be he uses the mirror theory when it comes to a lot of his characters because they do mirror real life novelists. Now, that's not the mirror theory. What it basically is that if you were to look into a mirror, you're not actually seeing yourself, but you're seeing your inverted self. And that's what Asagiri does a lot with his characters. One of the greatest examples of this has to be Atsushi Nakajima, the character, versus Atsushi Nakajima, the novelist. As we see with the novelist, he comes from a loving home, he has a loving family, and yes, he does have the depression and anxiety that Atsushi has, but it's said to have come from outside of the home, unlike Atsushi, where he doesn't grow up with a loving family because he grew up in an orphanage, and a lot of this depression and anxiety is said to have come from the orphanage, but also possibly even hinted at coming from his real family as well, as the director tells him this, meaning the abuse, is nothing compared to what your parents put you through. As we see here, this is what the mirror theory is. The character and the novelist would technically be looking alike, except that the novelist has a completely different life compared to what Atsushi has. But this isn't always the rule though. As you see, a lot of characters can have similarities to their counterparts, or even have their similarities flipped with their counterparts, one of them being Ryunosuke Akutagawa, who he does have a connection with Dazai in real life, but it was Dazai that looked up to Akutagawa, whereas in BSD, it's Akutagawa that looks up to Dazai. But one of the things that he does share very similar to his novelist counterpart is that they're both dying from some kind of disease and the Christian faith. See, as I showed in this video right here, Akutagawa, while he doesn't go to the Christian faith in the manga or the anime, he does have an interaction with the Christian faith in Nathaniel Hawthorne, and he really keeps disbelieving in him the entire time, very similar to the novelist who went to the Christian faith but could never find God. He was only ever able to fully believe in the devil but still question if God was real. So as we see, this isn't a hard rule for Asagiri. He doesn't have to follow this for every single character. It's likely just something that he uses to help develop characters, which is why I believe that Mori Ougai could have been the exception to this rule. Now, I want to take a little pause here to say that this next part is going to be pretty triggering for some people, so if you can't deal with the SA of minors, I probably would just, head on out now. But to you and to everybody else who's still watching this video, I would like to say that if you are liking this video and you want to see more Bungo Stray Dogs content, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, hit that notification bells for more. It really helps out the channel. Okay, as we all know, or at least as most of us in the Bungo Stray Dogs fandom know, Mori Ougai is a pedophile. I'm not going to debate with you whether he's a pedophile or a lolicon because they're literally the exact same thing. But Ougai the novelist wasn't, nor was Vita Sexualis written to be a pedophilic story. You see, if you never read Vita Sexualis, it's basically the story of a young man who believes that the world is too sexual and starts really trying to figure out why is he so different from everybody else. He talks about his sexual experiences, one of those being when he was sexually assaulted as a minor, and then he talks about how he's kind of always had like this love for older women, or just love for women in general as he started growing up, but a lot of it was because of what happened to him as a kid. And the last experience we hear about, I believe, I could be wrong, is his experience with a prostitute. Now, I understand why Asagiri would go away from that because of the mirror theory, but I feel like the mirror theory didn't need to be used here, especially when you're trying to make Mori Ougai come off like a hero just a bit too many times. Now look, I understand that not all bad people are completely bad, okay? There are people that may have done a bad thing or may have done a few bad things, but they might have actual valid reasons for doing said things. Here's the thing though. If you're doing an act that is just one of the most inhumane, most vile acts in the world, I don't care how much good you're doing. People have made claims that Hitler has done good things in society. He shouldn't be just completely demonized. Sorry, no, I don't care what he could have possibly ever done that was good. He was a horrible, disgusting person. I don't care how good Mori Ougai is, like believed to be in the Bungo Stray Dogs world. He's a horrible, disgusting person, but Asagiri loves to try to highlight him as a hero one too many times by having him say, Fukuzawa, if you're taken out, somebody else can step up and be the next head of the Armed Detective Agency. But if I'm taken out, not me, but I'm talking from Mori Ougai, let's make that clear. But if I, Mori Ougai, am taken out, I cannot promise you that the Port Mafia will go in a great direction. It's very possible that it'll go to hell, and so will Yokohama. Which makes me believe that Asagiri thinks that someone who's doing the most inhumane, most disgusting evil acts can still be a hero in this world or still be a need in this world. And I would say no, sure. Someone could be a pedophile and one day go on to save somebody's life. I'm not going to call you a need or a hero because anybody else could have done that. I don't think that Mori Ougai, with the way he's written in Bungo Stray Dogs, is needed for Yokohama. And I know a lot of people are going to probably say, or at least some people might say, oh, but Ogai's never actually harmed any kids. Well, let's remember, he's able to make Elise into whatever he wants, and sure, Elise is a part of him, but at one point in time during the Great Wars, she was like dang near an adult. I'm not sure if she was 17 or 18. We don't know the exact age. We do know that that version of her is based off of Mori Ogai's book, Dancing with Elise, I think is the name. Could be a different name. But we do know that she is based off of that version. And then we also see that Mori Ougai eventually changes her to be based more so around Yosana because of his over infatuation with a 12-year-old Yosana. Now, I also want to say this. I understand that this is a seinen series and you need some of these darker themes to really make the setting and the story look just that much darker. But usually those characters are only made to be look like heroes by themselves, not by others. They're not looked at as needs in this world by anybody else, and if they are, it's usually because of some kind of physical or mental abuse that is happening to those other characters. With Ougai, the good people believe that he's a need. Fukuzawa believes that he's a need, and that's just not right in my opinion. What I would have done with Ougai is this. I would have went and grabbed Vita Sexualis and made him almost a one-to-one of that main character, except I would have changed things up a little bit. I would have had the leader of the Old Port Mafia have a bunch of women around him, and one of those women were ordered by the old boss to rob the, child Ougai of his innocence, and that's what leads Ougai to killing the boss. Then what I would have done is, instead of having him be an asexual person, I would have had him be a very sexual person and have a lot of women around him at all times. And then we kind of, get into his backstory of why he is the way he is, which makes his character a lot better in my opinion. And it also explains why Dazai was a womanizer, because Dazai would have learned this behavior from Ougai. That's something that's never explained about Dazai, and I don't think it ever will be, because real life Osama Dazai was not a womanizer. I don't know if Asagiri just decided to do the mirror effect there and make him a womanizer, but it's not ever even told if he is or isn't one. It's just something that's never talked about with the real Osama Dazai. If we do this in Bungo Stray Dogs, though, where we make Ougai a womanizer, it actually helps further Dazai's case for being one as well. Before we cap this video off, I do want to say a couple things. I hope Asagiri does not go the route of Ougai was hurt as a kid and that's why he is the way he is as an adult. I really hope he doesn't, because it's becoming such a repetitive thing in society that, and in storytelling as well, that if someone has something happen to them as a kid, it's likely to happen to them as an adult. We just don't need to see it anymore. We don't need to hear it anymore. I think we're all very aware that there are people out there that has happened to, but it's not an excuse at all to do anything like that. And I also want to say this. I would love to hear, how do y'all feel about Ougai's character? What's a way that y'all would have done his character if y'all had the option to write Bungo Stray Dogs? And like I said in the middle of this video, if you did like this video, make sure you hit that like, that subscribe, and notification bells for more Bungo Stray Dogs content and more anime manga content in general. But that's it for now though, y'all. I'm out. Have a great day, everybody.